How to use a walkie-talkie in one tough lesson. The Germans had resorted to picking up all people in transit behind the lines. So we decided it would be more efficient to have our agents radio out their information instead of delivering it in person. This team was exceptional. A French Army captain, his wife, and a Parisian actress. In a few hours, they learned a 2-week radio course, including code and signal plans. The idea was to have them contact infantry CPs or Cub observation planes from behind the lines. When they were qualified radio operators, they got the usual briefing and the check of identity papers and personal effects. Then, before they went out, they were introduced to General O'Daniel, CO of the 3rd Division. The general told them how much the Army depended on agents and the FFI. He said the 7th Army's rapid advance was due to them and their great work. Then he thanked them personally and wished them luck. They must have had it, too, because they stayed out 5 weeks and radioed back vital information. At one point, they had to eat the signal plans and destroy the radio to prevent capture, but they escaped unharmed. As the pace of war quickened, our job grew harder. By the time we reached Gruyere, German counterespionage had improved, and native agents weren't as quick to offer themselves as before. Still, the work had to go on. This girl, Lillian, was assigned to a special job. One of our prized agents, a young woman named Day, was under death sentence in German-held Girodme. Lillian was going in with 70,000 gold francs sewn in her shoulder padding to bribe Day's guard and lead the girl back to our lines. Checking routine seemed boring by now, but you could never tell what forgotten detail might end in tragedy. We'd already heard of 2 agents shot for having American cigarettes in their possession. We weren't taking any chances. Up ahead, we met Lillian's guide and a mobilized sailor named Roger. We'd recruited him early in the campaign, and he worked bravely for us. We had the infantry CO spread the word that Lillian and Roger were okay for passage through the front line. By now, we all appreciated the importance of good identification. We watched as they walked away through the silent village and into the German lines beyond. The stream of agents seemed endless, but the list of facts the 3rd Division needed was endless, too. This time, a young Dane came forward to volunteer. He'd been in the Danish resistance movement before the Germans drafted him into the Todt. Now he was desperate to even the score. There was just one problem. He couldn't speak English, French, or German. We scoured the division until we found one guy who could speak Danish. And with this interpreter, we began making an espionage agent out of a kid who hated the Nazis. The next day, he set off with a walkie-talkie, a pistol, and 4 grenades. We never heard from him again. 4 weeks later, when the division had reached Remiremont, close to the Rhine, Lillian and Day limped back to our lines. They brought important information on enemy strength and positions, information that helped the 7th Army drive the Germans clear over the Rhine. Their knees were scraped raw and infected from crawling on frozen ground. And Day's ribs were fractured by Gestapo clubs, but they'd done their job. It was at Remiremont, where we rested before the big push, that General Marshall visited the division. He drove up one day, unannounced, to congratulate the men and commend them on a job well done. And we of the SSS teams, with 868 intelligence reports to our credit, we took pride in that commendation, too. In short-range intelligence missions from D1 to D62, we'd infiltrated 111 agent teams. So when the general got his flowers and made his little thank you speech, we knew that some of the thanks were addressed to our agents and to the OSS.